we're in no position to judge
Yeah,
anyone for whatever they may be in life,
Yeah.
regardless of who you are or what you have or what title. We're in no position to judge because that's the funny thing about life, right? You can be here 1 minute and then here the next, and there can be no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason to.
Life can be beautiful if you let it.
In the bowl.
yo, 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 what do you know? Welcome to In the Bowl Podcast. Shout out to Hustle Five Ways for hosting. I'm your host, Naz.
It's your guy Tallman, live from Dubai.
And as always, In the Bowl Podcast is sponsored by your nation's own #1 mobile hookah provider, where they not only do private events, but they do wholesale, distribution, and take that experience to that next level. What's happening, dude? What's happening?
What is going on, man? How you doing? How you feeling? How's your week? Talk to me.
Can't complain, man. Life is good. Life is good. The weather, we're in that perfect, like about to break, hopefully, season, even though we still in the middle of August. Hopefully done with all this fucking heat wave. So
Oh,
cool.
the heat wave, huh?
Yeah, fucking heat wave, dog. It's ain't nobody trying to hear about Dubai's heat, man. Dubai, that's a whole nother realm, but just know it's hot over here.
Man, come on, man. Your heat wave is my winter. And I was going outside last week, man. It was a good 130 degrees. It was so hot. It took at least 15 minutes for the car to start cooling off, man. I thought that something was wrong with my AC, man. I thought I was gonna have to go to the dealership and get some Freon or something, man, because it took a good minute. By the time the AC started blowing, I was at my destination, man. You know how much of a blower that is?
Yeah, it blows. I'm not gonna lie, man. I hate being hot, man. Nothing worse than being hot. You know what I'm saying? Because you only get down but so much. You know what I'm saying? You only take off but so many clothes. But know
Yeah.
what I heard? I heard there's some states about to open up where folks can walk around, shirtless. When I say folks, I'm talking about male and female. What do you think about
Interesting.
that? What do you think about
I
that?
mean, that. I'm cool with new beaches, new resorts, new retreats. People who live in the woods, the nude. I mean, if you're off to the side with it, and it's an identified area, it's all good, man. But if I'm walking through Whole Foods, there's certain things that I don't want to see, while I'm trying to, order my food, man, or get my food and get out of there. But again, this is interesting times we're living in. I'm not surprised by anything anymore. So it'll be interesting, man. What do you think?
I got mixed feelings. I mean, if it's topless, I think that's okay, right? I think, whatever. But I think there should be a limit and level to it, right? So we went to my cousin some time back. We went to he had a bachelor party in Montreal, right? And
Okay.
it was right there during Jazz Festival. And it was wild because one of the places we went to a nude diner, basically, right?
Mm.
So we was in there, we was in there, we were like, all right, cool. We thought the idea and the concept is cool. And we're at a bachelor party, right? So obviously, it's
Yeah.
bachelor type shit going on. But it was wild because all of a sudden, we're starting to watch around and one, I think we definitely had a different idea of what the entertainment, if that's what you want to call it, looked like, right? And
Okay.
they looked like they was working, right? They was sweating and all this other shit. So that shit got kind of reckless, right?
Mm.
But then the crazy part is they had shit on there like eggs and they had like shrimp and grits. They had like fish and all that. And then we started talking at the table and we was like, hold on. I don't know if I want, what I'm saying, all that shit, just like random hair flying in my grits and shit, right? And like
That's a possibility.
say you find a piece of hair on your food. Do you know which hair it is now?
Yeah, see, again, that's one of those things, man, where in certain situations, man, you don't want that can really ruin a moment, man. I know if I'm in my shrimp and grits, man, I'm 4 or 5 spoonfuls in, and all of a sudden I see a random looking hair that I cannot trace the origins. It's gonna make me a little uptight, man.
Nah,
Especially if the food was good. It's
nah,
nothing
so
like
we
having a good meal and you got some random hair in it. Then you're like, mm.
nah, for sure. So that's the crazy thing. So we actually didn't eat there. We actually left because it became overwhelming. I was just like, you know what? I don't want nothing from here. Because again, like I said, the waitresses, they didn't make the food look better. So I said, I'm gonna pass kindly on this one.
Yeah, man, it's different. Then if you got little kids around, like I said, man, it all depends on the area, the situation, environment, and something where like, all right, well, let me not go over to that section because I know what's going on around there. I got young kids with me, but if, like I said, you just randomly walking down the street and somebody's like, "Hey, here I am in all my glory," catch you off guard, man. That's different.
I hear you. That's, I think you said. I think there's levels to it. It's a limit. I think there should be certain rules to it, but.
Man, I agree, man. And let me tell you, while we were talking about weather, so Saturday morning, I woke up and I was heading to the gym. And I looked outside. It was a little hazy, so I'm like, all right, well, it's probably gonna be just a hot day, man. I did not realize that it was the start of a sandstorm out here. And the sandstorm is wild because it's not as bad as it is, like I've seen in videos and like Kuwait and Saudi, where it's like a orange glow outside. It just looked like a random, hazy day, but little particles of dusting and everything else. Man, when I tell you is that one, I was blown because I was gonna cook out that evening. I was gonna fire the grill up. And in the middle of a sandstorm, that's probably not recommended because you're definitely gonna have a little extra seasoning on your steaks. And I wasn't even trying to go that go that route, man. You're not trying to be, cracking the grill open, halfway so you can turn your food over and check on it, to keep the elements out. But man, the sandstorm lasted, I was like a good 3 days, where it just started clearing up on Tuesday. And then somebody was saying it was supposed to rain. And again, man, I haven't seen any rain. I think since I've been here, I've seen like a slight drizzle, like maybe 2 or 3 times, no more than 4 times. We're talking about what, 8 months? But everywhere else in the UAE, it rained except for here, man. So it's still getting acclimated to this changing, evolving, weather situation. But again, man, I'm not gonna complain. I love the hot weather, so I'm here for it.
I hear you. So what's up? We got to do a toast. Today's a special day. We got some good folks on here, or what I'm saying, great friend from a long time on here.
Yes.
Definitely be a great show. So definitely cheers to another week.
Cheers, man. Another one.
So before we even go to our guests, before we even bring them in, what else you got on the radar?
Oh man, I finally checked out a Ethiopian restaurant out here. We got a guy in town this week, and he had never had Ethiopian food. So we're like, all right, man, we're gonna treat you to the experience. And of course, us growing up, where we grew up, definitely, a large Ethiopian population around, and I've had a couple trips out to Ethiopia, so it was good, seeing individuals who hadn't experienced that culture, you know, enjoy that for the first time. And the young lady who was our server or waitress, I mean, she really, the presentation was on point, man. She brought out this big tray of injera. I swear that the plate itself was about 3 feet by 3 feet, man. It was slightly intimidating, and she just kept, pouring things in different pockets. But when I tell you that everyone at the table, left and they were satisfied and full to the point where folks were like, yeah, I didn't even eat no dinner last night, man. I was still full, so I'm glad they got to enjoy that experience and got to get some authentic, Ethiopian coffee, because I had 2 glasses, and this is at like 1:30. Man, when I tell you I was wired until about 11:30 that night, man. But the coffee was, it was solid, man. It was a good experience. I definitely put that spot on my list to go back and frequent because it made me think about one of our old stomping grounds that we used to go to and play cards, man. So I know when I get back in the States, definitely gotta swing by there and get some Tibbs and of course get some hookah.
I hear you. I don't know. I just haven't gotten Ethiopian food again. That's my own personal opinion. Yeah, I tried it. And I'm gonna kindly pass on that for the moment. But we can definitely frequent the spot though, so I'm down for that. But
Yeah, because I can rock with it now. Anything that this uncooked, they do have a couple of uncooked dishes. I'm not really sold on that. And that's whether it's Ethiopian or steak tartare or anything else, man. I need something to have a little sizzle for a minute or two, man. I cannot just I cannot ingest knowingly and willingly, any raw red meats. You guys just not with that, man. Don't knock it, but it's definitely not for me. But you give me some Tibbs or some dollar watt, I may be saying that incorrect. And some lentils or something. Hey, your boy is a happy camper, man.
I hear you. But I think speaking of coffee, being wired, I think that's a good segue to introduce our guest, a longtime friend, who is probably one of the busiest people I know. Definitely because she loves to talk, what she does, and so I want to bring our guest on now. Like I said, longtime friend, Shantae. What's up?
Hi.
What's going on?
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
What's happening?
That backhanded compliment intro. I appreciate that.
No, I'm just saying. I feel like you're in the right profession, right? But it's funny though, and we'll get into it. But I think you definitely, are in the right profession, considering that you do. You love to defend, right? Your thoughts, right? And I'm trying to be PC as nice as I can be, but you about to say fucking with the Band-Aid.
I was about to say, can we curse on here?
You can do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
This is where you talk your shit. This is what you do.
I was about to say, because I talk shit. So.
Yeah. And this is what it's for, right? It's for, this is what this platform is for, to talk your shit, give your opinion. Some people may not agree with it, but that's their problem. It is what it is.
Exactly.
So just to get in real quick, known Shantae for years, right? So, just a very, very educated young woman in where, she finished school early, went to now what is deemed as an Ivy League school, early. And it is. I did my research on it. Really? It came up a long time ago. So they actually introduced it as as an Ivy League school, and I'm not sure because of the population or what it is or how rigorous it could be to get into that school, whether you're out of state or local. But they deemed it as like an Ivy League school. They should definitely get into.
Right.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been featured in a couple movies.
Yeah. I actually shit. I hear you. But no. Well, I'm gonna let folks know. So now she's a lawyer. She's a lawyer now. So she finished school early, and she's always been very headstrong, right? So, and that's why I say, you love to talk your shit.
Thank you for that second backhanded compliment. I appreciate that.
I'm good at it. That's what I do. You gotta read between the lines.
I see. You're doing a bang up job.
I appreciate it. That's what I try. So I do like the sandwich thing. I give you the nice, I give you your shit, and I put it back on top. Right? I close it up. I leave it back around. But no, but you're a lawyer now. And then you recently just became a certified yoga.
Yes.
Qualified to be a yoga instructor, So I first want to get into this law thing, right? I want to, what kind of law you're in and what made you get into law?
Okay. Well, What kind of law am I? I am a trial lawyer. So pretty much I do anything and everything that puts you into court. I started in commercial and civil litigation and then pivoted into criminal law and then also in entertainment law because of my personal relationship to a lot of people in the industry and they needed a lawyer. They needed a lawyer they could trust. And so that's what kind of got me into the entertainment space. So I guess to be fair, I do a little bit of everything. I do what my clients require. So I can do transactional stuff, contracts, business, uh, anything done with corporate and commercial transactions. And then if I need to go to court, whatever is needed on the court side to actually go in, litigate a case or do a jury trial, I can do that as well. So I am a rarity. About only like 1% of lawyers have ever even done a jury trial. Most lawyers don't even go to trial. So
Wow.
trial lawyers are within like the top 10%, or not, I want to say top 10%, are about 10% of all lawyers. And then those who actually do jury trials are it's even further, like 1%. So the vast majority of lawyers just sit in offices and kind of, no disrespect, like, but push paper.
I got you. I got
Understandable.
I got you.
Understandable. So speaking of being in the courtroom, because I'm a guy who falls down a lot of rabbit holes on YouTube, and I watched this show called Court Cam. So what is one of the wildest things that you've seen go on in a courtroom? And judging by your expression, it looks like you got something good.
Yeah, there's this one. I mean, I've seen a lot of wild shit. I've seen a lot of wild shit. But there's this one. This wasn't even my case. I was sitting in the galley. The galley is what we call the area of the courtroom that's behind the bar. So the bar, when you hear, oh, they took the bar, they passed the bar. Where that actually comes from is the way that the old, not these new school courtrooms, because you go into new school courtrooms and they're all like tech savvy and they're like nice. I'm talking about like the older, more historic looking courtrooms, like that you typically see in like movies. That bar that the lawyer has to pass through to get to the well of the court is what we call. So you have the judge sitting in the middle, the witness box, the jury box, the two tables. That's the well of the court. Then there's a bar right there. That's where the bar comes from. The concept of the bar. That's the bar. You pass the bar to go into the well of the court. So that's why the test is called the bar. So the galley is everything that's behind the bar. So the well is in front of the bar, the galley is behind the bar. So I'm sitting in the galley. And it's a family law case. And family law,
That's
family law is the whole that is a whole different breed of law. You talk about trauma, okay? You talk about people who need therapists, who need to break generational cycles. Like, that's family law. So it's funny, but it was also sad. It was a woman who, it was her and her baby's father. And they were never married. And they're going back and forth, exchanging some words. And the woman's position was correct. Like, what she was trying to say was, what she was trying to articulate was, dad has never been in kid's life. Why was the judge now giving dad all this time when dad had not done these things that, he needs to do? What she needed a lawyer. And had she had a lawyer, I think her lawyer would have been able to advocate for her position and she would have got what she needed. But because she didn't have a lawyer, she's speaking to the judge and not very eloquently, and more so coming off as very as someone who's not listening, as someone who is dismissing the judge, as someone who's being disrespectful to the judge. That's how it's more so coming off. So the judge was like, you know what? Sole custody to dad.
Oh shit.
To dad. Wow. And you're gonna get visitation. Man, when I say that this woman flipped, literally, she flipped the table at the judge, like flipped, like lost her shit, knocked everything off the table, was like, fuck you, fuck this courtroom. the fuck off. And ma'am, the bailiffs restrain her. Bailiffs take her back. Like all
Oh man.
out of a movie, and cuffed her, took her back. So that was by far probably like the most like I was in the galley like what? And I had some other good ones. Other choicey ones were this is a protective order. It's a protective order. They're called protective orders in Maryland and DC. They're called restraining orders in other jurisdictions, but that's what it is, restraining orders.
Right.
So this is a restraining order trial. This was not my trial. This is actually a pro se trial. Pro se cases are the best. Like if you want to see some funny shit, it's pro se cases. You will never see funny shit in cases where you have lawyers, because lawyers are going to control their client. If you're a good lawyer, you should have some ability to control your client, and clients really shouldn't. And if they are speaking, you've coached them, not coach them, but you're not telling them what to say, but you've prepared them. That's a better way to say it. You've prepared them for the questions they're being asked. So you really only get the good stuff when you're dealing with pro se people representing themselves. And so in this case, this was a protective order. Oh my God, this one was wild. This was the woman who was seeking the protective order was in a relationship with this other woman. But prior to being in that relationship with this other woman, with this woman, her partner or her prior partner, she was with her baby's father. And so the baby's father was locked up. So this whole fucking love triangle.
That's a
man.
So
what made this so funny? Okay, so during the case, it comes out, she's like basically the girl is like, oh, you're just mad because I don't want to be with you, and when my baby father got out, like I was gonna be back with him, and you're just mad that I cut the situation off. And so she's like, bitch, why I'll be mad? You out here turning tricks, you out here fucking for money, like saying this in court, and everyone. So of course, I don't want to state the obvious. Well, maybe it's not the obvious. These were people who were more melanated, what we would call, I guess, so-called black, right? And so the most fucked up thing is like when you're in these courtrooms, and then white folks in the galley, like they're like looking around, and you're like this, you're like please, this doesn't represent me. This doesn't represent my culture. This doesn't. I have nothing to do with this. Please don't hold this against me. Better yet, the judge, please don't hold this against the rest of the clients that you see who look like this for the rest of the day. Which they're not supposed to. They do. And so then she goes on to say that, and bitch, you out here burning. You gave me herpes. And yes, like in the courtroom, the galley is outing this woman in all her business, their sexual history, what she does. And then what made it so funny was this was the second case that day where there have been litigants up there talking about, oh, she burning and she gave me this STD. And it was just like, whoa, that was just too much in a day. Like, number of people going around here passing around STDs and then outing themselves in court. And so I say the funny cases are the pro se cases, and any case dealing with an intimate relationship, because we hear about niggas snitching and you turn on your man, you for forever and you was loyal, but that doesn't even compare to when you have an intimate relationship with someone and you share details about yourself, you share things with this person that are private, that you think you're in a safe place, because you're in love. And that's the saddest thing about family law, protective orders, DV cases, that the very things that you shared with this person under this concept of being sacred and safe, they then use against you. They will use everything that you've ever said to them to try to destroy you, malign your reputation, and really bring harm to you in court. And it's really sad. Wow. And so I actually try to stay away from family law and DV cases and shit like that. I'll do protective orders. I'll do restraining order cases because they're a quick turnaround. But for the most part, it's people trying to work out emotional issues in the court. And that's just not a good place to do it. So I'm sorry.
Makes sense.
I know I talk a lot, but those are like some of my good stories.
No,
That's wild.
That's some wild shit, and that's what makes me think, right? It's now that you've done those and you witnessed these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is what made you then, go into doing yoga, right? Do you feel that yoga helps you in that world of like, all right, I'm about to see some crazy shit. Let me get myself together first, because I don't know what's about to happen. Like, what made you then say, all right, I did this. Now at this junction, like, you still practice that, but then you now are also kind of, into this other realm, completely opposite.
You're right. And so I've always been like extremely spiritual person, and I'm a very spiritual person, deeply spiritual person. And the funny thing about myself, I've always seen myself as always having one foot in two worlds that are seemingly opposite. That's, you know this about me, Naz. Like, so I tend to be like a nice little paradox wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in an enigma, right? And so that's a gift of mine, walking in two very different spaces at the same time and being able to be a bridge between the two. And so the law is the epitome of the material world, the man-madeness, this 3D physical reality that we live in. It's the epitome of ego, of man thinking he has control and power. Literally, right? We call this person in a black robe, we call them a judge. And then you sit back and it's like, who are you to judge anyone? Right? But that's man's ego saying that anyone is fit to judge another human being, which is the furthest from the truth. How can you judge anyone? Each person is a full complete circle. If you imagine each person, each entity is a 360 degrees. All most of us are privy to at any given moment is 1 degree on that circle, And so unless you're gonna, judge a man by the totality of his life, who are you to judge a person in their worst moments, and even if they're their best moments? But who are you to judge a person based off of one perspective in that circle, right? So I find the law to be very energetically dense, very, very dense, very heavy, very ego driven. That's what it is. That's the nature of the whole process, the whole system is a system of winners and losers, right? So even in that regard, where we're all, what I would say, spiritual beings having a human experience, in the law, we're saying, no, we're not all equal. Well, there are winners and there are losers, and this person who knows nothing about you is the person that gets to decide who's the winner or the loser in this context. So it's very ego driven, very outside, very surface, very judgment based, and that's heavy. That's really heavy.
Yes,
and it actually, it actually goes against everything that I believe in, honestly, and everything that I know to be true about reality in this world and our experience, our human experience, because we're in no position to judge anyone for whatever they may be in life, regardless of who you are or what you have or what title. We're in no position to judge, because that's the funny thing about life, right? You can be here 1 minute and then here the next, and there can be no rhyme or reason to. So meditation and yoga help to meditation and yoga allow you to reconnect with your true self, which is not your mind, which is not your flesh, which is not your ego. It is a place of mindlessness, which is really the purpose of yoga. It's asanas. Let me say this, because yoga is far more than just the asanas. Asanas are the positions, right? The positions we put our body in. But yoga is far more than just the asanas. That is just one piece of yoga. That's hatha yoga, is what we call. There are 6 limbs of yoga, and it is an all-encompassing system. It is really a spiritual system, and as it's practiced in the West, it's practiced as a physical system to exercise your body. And it has nothing to do with that. Like, you can be fat and be a yogi. You can have, you can be totally out of shape and be a yogi. It has nothing to do with that. The point of the asanas are to put you in a posture where you hold that posture and concentrate. And through developing your ability to concentrate and focus, you then will develop the ability to detach from your thoughts, which you believe to be yourself. You believe that the running dialogue that you hear in your head, 99.9% of people believe that to be them. What you think you believe is your reality. But the truth of it, who you are and your thoughts are two different things. So asanas are meant to put you in a place where you have to hold a position and focus on your breath so that you can cease thought in your mind. And when you cease thought in your mind, you can recognize your true self, which is just an extension of spirit. That's what you truly are. So this idea, and I find that people not being self-aware, that's really what that causes all of our problems. It causes 100% of the problem things that we call
Self-inflicting
problems.
wounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have self-inflicting wounds, right? We get into our
Self-inflicting wounds.
thoughts.
Yep.
And so we start thinking that. So do you feel like it helps you like center yourself where you go and where you have one of these cases?
Okay.
Or,
So when I go into the courtroom, I actually I'll do chant. I chant before I go. I chant all the time. Actually. I chant all the time for everything. And I try to always think to be grateful for what I have, and just grateful for being alive, grateful for my health. And but I chant before I go into court. It's a really dark space. It's very heavy energy. You're dealing with a lot of trauma. You're dealing with a lot. One thing being a lawyer has taught me is most people walking around have severe psychological issues. Like I hand to God, like I want to laugh, but I'm dead ass serious. Like most people that you are dealing with on a regular basis have severe psychological issues, and are delusional, like severely delusional, and have no self-awareness, no accountability, and are highly emotional and highly reactive. So it's no surprise that we live in the kind of world that we live in. But yoga, the science of yoga, and it's it's ancient, right? So you can go to Egypt and see yoga poses in hieroglyphs. So it's not just something that started with the Vedas and the Indus Valley civilization. That's what we call the civilization that preceded the formation of what we now call India or Vedic culture. It precedes the Indus Valley civilization. And so meditation, yoga poses are meditating, and what it is intended to, the whole point of meditation is for you to understand that you are in this world, but you are not of this world. You are in this, and at all times you use your emotions to guide you, but your emotions are not you're not supposed to react to your emotions. Reacting to your emotions will cause your life to be very, very difficult. Right?
Yeah.
And so meditating allows you, and there are so many scientific, proven science. I mean, Western science is now coming on board, but Ayurvedic medicine and Eastern medicine, indigenous medicine all around the world have known this for thousands of years, that meditation, it puts the brain in a certain wave-like state of what we would call calmness, peace, right? And when you're calm and you're at peace, you're able to see things clearly, and then you're able to think clearly and move clearly. And so if there's anything that the world needs, it needs that. So yes, meditation and yoga put me in the kind of reflective and contemplative space that allows me to laugh at things that could upset you, and what people say, oh, bring you out of character, right? What they're really talking about is, oh, I reacted and I reacted poorly. So they say, oh, that's not my character, or it brought me out of character.
Yeah.
What you're really trying to get at is your natural state should be peacefulness, calmness, and really nothing should bring you out of that state. And that's the goal. The goal is to be like, you know, to ride the waves. That's the goal. To ride the waves, and don't let the waves take you under. You ride them. They're going to come. They wash over you. You ride the next one. It comes, it washes over you. But if every single wave, you're tensing up, you're panicking, you're, oh my God, how am I going to get through it? You're going to drown. You're going to drown.
Damn.
So.
That's deep.
No, that makes sense. I mean, so a couple weeks back, you know, we were talking about this this young lady that I believe was from Michigan, and she had went on a date with a guy, and the guy stood her up, and she decided to go to court and, you know, sue this man for, I think it was like $10,000, you know, for you know, emotional distress, or, you know, something along those lines. And, you know, we looked at the situation, and I saw another instance of that maybe a week or two ago. I don't remember all the details, but how do you feel about, you know, individuals, you know, suing for just very unique situations? You know, I'm trying to walk a thin line there, but I mean, has there ever been a time where you've seen or observed, you know, someone wanting to sue someone, you know, for, you know, something else? Because like you said, you mentioned, you know, earlier that, you know, a lot of things in the courtroom are, you know, people trying to work out their emotions, you know, in a court of law, which, you know, may not be the, you know, the right place for that. But just to get your stance on, you know, suing behind, you know, bad dates. You know, how do you feel about that?
Well, I would be interested to know, I would be interested to know her theory. So whenever you litigate a case or have a lawsuit, there's a theory of the case. There's a theory that not everything is you might be familiar with the term of art, cause of action. So a cause of action can be defamation. A cause of action can be negligence. So not everything, just because something happens to you doesn't mean there's a cause of action for it. There either has to be a cause of action at common law, or there has to be a cause of action determined by statute that was put into law by the legislature. Something has to give you a right to pursue a remedy within court. So I would wonder what her cause of action would be for a bad date, because I mean, even if you went on a quasi-contract theory, which means that you don't have an actual contract, which is offer, acceptance, and consideration, sometimes you're missing one of those three things. And if you're missing one of those three things, we call it a quasi-contract theory. So reliance is a quasi-contract theory, that you told me something and I relied upon this statement and to my detriment. And because of that, I lost money, or I suffered some type of damage. And now I'm going to sue you to make me whole on that damage. That's the only possible theory I could even think of that someone would bring a bad date lawsuit. But
she needs to find her inner peace. That's what she needs to do. So
yeah, no, that's where I was going, right? So we got to keep it a buck, right? Like, I mean, if you at this space in life where you suing people for bad dates, like, bruh, that's the least of your problems. Like she got so much more going on up here that is going unaddressed, that is going undiagnosed. Like, bruh,
you are the problem.
You are the problem. You are. Listen. I want to say, like, you see how you ask how often I see that. Every day, all day. Listen. I ain't never met a nigga who been locked up who ain't say, I don't know why they locked me up. I don't know why I'm in here. They lying. I mean, I ain't never met one. Not one. I'm like, so you have no idea. You have no idea how they have your fingerprints on this. You have no idea why this person made this statement. You have no idea while your cell phone is being triangulated to the exact place that this alleged crime occurred. You have no idea. It's not me.
Man.
I don't know where. I mean, the number of excuses. That's why I say, like, delusion. When I say that the number of people walking around truly delusional about the role that they play in their lives and why their lives are the way that they are. It's quite honestly, it's astounding. It's astounding and scary and scary because you realize how easy it is to get yourself involved with people like that. And then, God forbid, you have children. God forbid you have a business. God forbid you do anything of some substantial nature that could really have an effect on your life. You're going to be dealing with a fucking headache for the rest. Especially if you have kids with this person. Oh my God. Oh my God. Or the number of guys I've seen to be like, guys and women. For men, it's normally something like this. It's normally like, oh, she just mad I don't want to be with her, and she's using the kids against me, and she's just a bitch and she's crazy and blah blah blah. For the women, it's normally always a deadbeat. He don't take care of his kids, all this shit, right? And I was looking at both of them and I'm like, now goddamn well this is the person that they were before you had this fucking kid with them.
Yeah.
Goddamn well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would.
And
you would.
And you know who you with. You know who you had a kid with. You knew this shit. Like, don't sit here and give me this fucking sob story, okay?
Yeah.
Like, and so then to see the levels that people will go to, like, this is the one that kills me, like, especially with women. With men, I feel like, all right, men really only got one shot. Your shot is when you decide to run up in that, to shoot the club up.
Shoot the club up.
You know what I'm saying? That's your one chance. That's your one chance. You get one shot. Right? Yeah. If you decide wrong, well, it's now in her hands.
Yeah.
It's now in her hands. So
yeah.
in some ways, we all fall victim to temptation. Sexual desire is a motherfucker. Getting caught in the heat of the moment, that's a motherfucker. And to have to make some life-altering decisions in the heat of the moment when you have hormones going on, like, it's kind of fucked up to put all the burden on men to make the decision for themselves right then and there, right? But hey, it is what it is. That's what you got. That's the only moment, it's the only point in which you have control.
Yeah.
So if unfortunately you fumble that, from that moment on, she has control. And so
this is true.
it's how the cookie crumbles. But also from that moment on, she faces the greater impact to her life and the greater responsibility, right? Because from that moment forward, if she proceeds, she has to carry that child. She has to push that child out. That's mama's baby, papa's maybe, always, at all times. And the obligation, the impact to her life, especially in Western society, especially in American society, the impact to her life is greater. A man's life, it doesn't really change that much. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. It doesn't really change that much, but a woman's life changes drastically. Yeah. So, and the consequences of a pregnancy, especially a pregnancy with a man who is not committed to taking care of you and that child, the consequences are very dire for a woman. So to be fair, she may have control after, you bust that nut, but the consequences are much greater for her at that point. So I give my whole little diatribe to say, that whole little preface to say, the part that kills me is when women, go balls to the walls in court to destroy this man and say, oh, he shouldn't have visitation and it needs to be supervised, and oh, he shouldn't have any say, and I need to have sole legal custody and sole physical custody, and he's this horrible person and all these terrible things about him, and he's a deadbeat and he doesn't even spend time with his kids. It's his girlfriend that's taking care of his kids, and he doesn't cook them meals, and they get McDonald's, and all the way down the line. And it'd be like, well, he was all those things when he was good enough to have a baby with.
Facts. Facts.
But now you want to go back and undo some shit that you can't undo. That's your child's father. It's no getting around that. That's what it is. So if he ain't shit nigga now, he was an ain't shit nigga then, and you ain't care.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, this is true.
And that makes me think. I'm gonna get your opinion, right? So it's you know, I know one real big thing now is, you know, it was a couple weeks ago. There's actually 2 points, right? Because you said something earlier I definitely want to touch on real quick. But the first one is, you remember that clip? I'm not sure if y'all seen that clip when the woman was mad at the baby father for buying McDonald's for the
Oh
one.
yeah. I did see that. I did see that.
And so it makes you think, right? It's like, is that dude in the wrong? Like, is he the deadbeat or is the other one the deadbeat for not bringing the food, right? It's like, for her to try to oust him, you know, you're like, that's not really his responsibility. I mean, he probably could have been, you know, I don't know, probably could have bought another $1 chicken sandwich for the kids. Who knows, right? He could have
I
done
don't even know if them
something,
shits is $1 now. Them shit's probably like $4-5, honestly.
Yeah, man. Inflation.
he did.
Price done gone up, bitch.
The price is
Shit.
going up. The price today is not the price from yesterday, right? You know what I'm saying? But like, do you think, like, even that situation, like, for because we were talking about over the weekend, right? If there are a lot of people that also put guys on papers too, right? And if you could try to keep them out of the system, that'd be the ideal, right? Especially there are a lot of, you know, a lot of folks that are on papers or in the system and been fingerprinted, whatever that may have been, right? And depending on what your job it could have been, do you think that you should always try to go that route to keep them on paper to keep people in check, or do you think, you know, you can see if you can try to work it out without going into that family court?
Okay, so first point, the viral video, that whole discussion. All right, I don't even think it comes down. I don't think it really come down to daddy, who's the dad, who's the mom, who's whatever, right? I think the principle is greater. I'm not going anywhere and there are kids there and I'm buying something for one set of kids, whoever, like I don't even have to be related to the damn kid. Like if I'm going somewhere and there are children around and children are hungry, I don't give a fuck whose kid it is. Everybody gonna eat. That's just how I give it up. Like, so I don't care where I am, what country I'm in, whose kids I'm around. It don't matter. Like, if I got it and there are hungry children around, every child gonna eat. Period. So I don't think it really has nothing to do with the parenting, the who your biological child. But that's just me. I value children, and I think children are worthy of that kind of dignity and respect, no matter who they belong to. So now, if you want to make it a debate about, hey, bitch, them your kids, like that ain't my kid. Like, I mean, I guess hey, you know, it's 2022, and I'd say since about probably like 1992, ain't nobody in this bitch having kids that they don't want. Okay, it's 2022. Nobody has a child that they don't want. Nobody has a child where they don't know what taking care of a child entails. And so I think women need to do a better job of screening. And I only say that because women are the one who suffer the brunt of the consequences, right? So you need to be very selective about who you have children with. That's A. Then B, once those children are here and say things don't work out between you and that child's father, you need to be extremely selective about who you bring around your children and what kind of values they have. Not because it's a man or woman thing and men aren't responsible. I'm not saying that. I'm saying because you bear the brunt of the consequences if you don't. So it behooves you, it's in your self-interest to choose a person that values your children in the same way that you value them. And that's a conversation that you need to have. That's your responsibility to have that conversation before you bring these people into your children's life. I don't give a fuck who it is, man, woman, your friend, platonic, whoever the fuck it is that your child could get attached to. So I think in that situation, like, they didn't have that discussion. And a lot of people don't have discussion. Shit, people out here scared to tell a motherfucker to put on a condom.
Yeah, that's wild.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're scared to ask somebody, when's your last STD test? You know what I mean? So I know damn well we ain't having people ain't having no conversations about well, what do you value and how do you feel about children and how do you feel about, having child with me and I have other children and how would you treat and of course that's not to say that people can't, bullshit you and say, oh yeah, I'm cool with it, and then show you something else. Of course, that always
Yeah,
happens,
that's
but
true.
come on, everybody don't switch up on you. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? We all grown.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody don't switch up on you for the most part. 99.9% of the time, that motherfucker ain't switch up. You saw them for who they were from the jump, and you ain't give a fuck. Let's keep it real.
Believe them the first time they show you, right?
Yeah. So I guarantee you that wasn't the first time. I just think that kind of behavior is selfish. That's what I would think. I would not do that to children, period. And so I just think it just more demonstrates that person's character. And so you can't mean to tell me this was the first time that this person behaved selfishly towards your children. It wasn't.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
Yeah.
But people be delusional.
That's true. It's true. But now to play devil's advocate, we don't know what his, financial situation is. He may have, done something for him once, but couldn't continue on. And I do agree with, I was reading the comments, folks were like, well, hey, if he doesn't have enough for everybody, maybe him and his kid can sit in the car and eat. To where, he's not, doing it in front of everybody, because he's trying to spend his quality time with the kid as well. But it's just wild that, that she tried to put him on blast because, he doesn't have a responsibility to the other kids. And I don't know how many it is. I don't know if it's 2, 3. I definitely don't know the number, so I'm not going to throw a, random number out. But, he's trying to do right by his kid, and I think it was different ways that he can handle that. But I don't know if that onus should, always be on him because if that's their thing, once a week or twice a week, hey, we get, McDonald's Happy Meal. And, he's kind of, setting it up to, that's his way of spending, quality time with the child. It's a slippery slope.
I see that perspective, but then, that's the problem. Motherfuckers lack accountability. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to be held accountable. Don't nobody want to be held accountable. Everybody want to at the end of but my situation is this. But my nigga, you had a baby with her.
Yeah.
This is your child's siblings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like,
that's
if you didn't want that responsibility, then you shouldn't have dipped your toe in that fucking water, period. Like, if you shouldn't have been waiting in that pool. And people always want to, after the fact, back to, but that's my kids. Well, then you shouldn't have been playing in that pond, period. Like,
no pun intended. I like that.
No pun intended.
Yeah, that
but it's like, it's always after the fact. I guarantee you, if that nigga had said some shit like that from the jump, hey, I'm only buying my kids some food. I'm not buying his siblings no food. I guarantee you, she would have thought about that shit a little bit differently.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't even have a kid together. Right. But I think that's what you sign up for. Like, it's like the evil step parent trope, right? And people will be like, oh, I got with them and the kids hated me and blah, 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 blah. Like, that whole blended family situation or mixing families or you sign up for that. That's a choice. The only motherfuckers we don't choose in this lifetime are the people our family, motherfuckers we born into, people we share DNA with. Everybody else in life is a choice. Everybody else.
Yeah, it's facts.
Yeah.
Definitely facts. I agree with you on that 100%, right? And that's why I like that perspective on it, right? It's like you made that decision, so you make your bed and you lay in it now, right? That's what it is. And like you said, you don't know his financial situation, but he probably could have definitely walked into a Domino's and got a walkout pizza for $5.99 the same thing, right? He could have figured it out, but I hear you on that because I'm pretty sure the reason why they're not together now is because he showed some kind of sign of a selfishness or whatever that could have been that, he's kind of the same character he is now, right? Or
she could have been crazy.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I'm about to say, we can't put it all on my brother, man.
No, I'm not going to put it all on him.
Neutral here.
I'm just saying, when you sign up for something, you got to, for example, the whole, I know this is getting big, like the polyamory community and, men talking about, I want 2 women or multiple women, or I wish I could have my girl and, additional, whatever. And they always point to like, oh, but in traditional cultures, like in Africa, you can have 15 wives, or in the Middle East, you can have multiple wives. And it's like, yeah, but is you gonna pay like you weigh, nigga? Is you gonna take care of 15 wives and the 30 children that come from them wives? Are you gonna make sure they're all living the same standard of life? They all have access to you in the same way? Are you gonna take care of that?
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, no, you're not. So why do you think you're entitled to live that way if you're not willing to pay the cost to be the boss? And that's what it comes down to. So if you meet a woman and she has children prior to you, it's a package deal.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready, if you're not willing to commit to that long term, then you have no business being with that woman.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Fair enough.
If she doesn't vet that man and says, I'm going to bring this man in without having that kind of long-term commitment, you know, then she's signing up for what she's signing up for. Okay, then it's cool. Then it's cool to have a flim-flammy kind of nigga. Like, oh, one day I took for your kids, next day I ain't fucking with them. They not my kids. If you cool with that, then you cool with that. And no judgment.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I know we're getting a little long, but I gotta ask you just one question, right? Before you close out. I gotta ask this one question. This whole RICO law shit.
Okay.
Gotta ask this question. Ooh. Just and again, I know we're getting late. I know the sun's coming up behind you out there in Dubai.
Oh damn, it really is coming up. That's right. We started when it was dark. Oh shit.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's this RICO law, right? And what they're doing to Young Thug, right? I mean,
what they're doing to Young Thug?
And what they're doing to him, and you say that
what he did to himself.
So I have mixed feelings, right? I have mixed feelings. That, like you say, you make your bed, play in it, right? So they found whatever they found in this house that started this discussion, this conversation. He had all this stuff with him, right? So yeah, he can be penalized on that because he had a certain amount of quantity and other stuff with him. But my thing is now the fact that they are trying to use like lyrics and stuff like that, and that, you know, a human is trying to judge them based off of a First Amendment, making a song, making a profit. And then you got other, you know, we question like artists of like, are you rapping real life? Or are you rapping just to make $1, whatever that may be? Do you feel that, you know, folks should be able to use lyrics to be able to hit you with you starting like a gang? Because someone even asked me today, is there a gang called YSL? I'm like, honestly, I don't fucking know anyone in YSL, right? I mean, I thought it was the same fucking quality control group type shit, right? I thought it was the same thing as fucking Rockefeller, right? It's a fucking music label, right? But they're using their lyrics against them, and just even research. Like today, I was looking at different genres of music, and you got people like Johnny Cash. You got like Willie Nelson, you got, you know what I'm saying, some other singers that made shit like I broke his car, I'd have beat his ass, I'd have shot him because he was cheating on me, this, that, and the third. Why do you think they're trying to hit him so much with the lyrics, or you think they should even be trying to do that?
So, this is a damn. I know I'm gonna try to make it quick, tall man, because I know you gotta go. All right, so lyrics. All right. So you have a First Amendment right. But the First Amendment, what most people don't realize about the First Amendment does not protect you. All speech is not protected. Is not First Amendment speech. Okay. Speech that incites I'm not gonna say danger. The term is like incite a riot. Speech that can incite criminal activity, lead to criminal activity. There's a number of exceptions. So let me just say that. Okay, I'll just blanket it like that. There's a number of exceptions to free speech. All speech is not free. And your First Amendment right truly only applies with respect to the government. What you are saying in a public forum, your right to speak against the government, speak freely against the government, against things within society. That's really the nature of the right. So if we want to get to what it's really about, people believe that free speech is, I can say anything I want and there are no consequences. That's not true. That's not true at all. You can say anything you want, but there's definitely a consequence depending on what you say. Or let's say there's a different kind of consequence depending on what you say, right?
Mhm.
So we know we can't make up lies and say lies about people. We call that defamation, right? We call that slander when you speak, spoken, and when it's written, libel. So you can't say and then you can say things. You can't give false or misleading statements in advertising. You can't fail to accurately warn people. That's negligent. There's a lot of different kinds of speech that you can give that will open you up to liability, that will expose you to civil liability, and in this case, criminal liability. Now, back to, well, it's art. It's not real. Well, I don't know. Is it? Who gets to decide whether it's real or not? Whether it's art imitating life or life imitating art, or whether the art and the life are the same? Who decides that? Because in one context, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the whole Lil Wayne. Baby tried to have Lil Wayne killed, and Young Thug was a part of that. They shot his tour bus up. They were indicted on this shit. There was an actual court case, and they were indicted. And Young Thug was named in this, not as a person in this indictment. He was named in the statement of charges leading to the indictment that led to the indictment. His involvement and Baby's involvement. Okay, they were named. So this is not. You're not talking about someone who, I have no criminal record and have never been associated with crime or any criminal activity. From the gate, from his entry into the music and into the entertainment scene, he was associated with trying to kill Lil Wayne. Okay, so that's how his. I'm not gonna say that's how it starts with him in terms of this particular case, but this is not anything new with respect to Young Thug. So. In terms of life imitating art or art imitating life, nigga, I don't know. You shouting gang this, you shouting blood this, you was involved in trying to get this nigga killed, knocked off a label. Like, I don't know what is real, what's not real. And which is an even greater question because, or leads to an even bigger question because, hip hop has really become trauma porn, right? That's really what it is. Is it you're profiteering off of murder music? That's what we're talking about. And so you can cut it any way you want. You can call it art. You can say it's my right to I'm not a role model. But you can say all that. I'm not judging you for it. But you got to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. Like it's fucking murder music. And so on one hand, which the irony of it is, everything that all these niggas are faking. Yeah. All of them are faking. They're all full of shit. Okay, like. All these quote unquote gangsters, and I'm so gangster. Hey, any real nigga tell you all the real niggas either dead or in jail, straight up. Like anyone tell you that, anybody who really been in the streets. And so it's like the reason why when people talk about the incarceration rate, when they talk about all these niggas getting locked up, all these black men in jail, how the fuck do you think they got there? People talk about this code, this G code, this street code. How you think all these people got in prison? Because everybody's singing like a bird. Yeah. Nobody's G. Nobody's standing tall. Nobody's sealing their lips. Get the fuck out of here. Everybody's running off about what they doing, posting pictures, talking to this person, pillow talking with this bitch. Like, come on. Yeah. So the whole hip hop, gangster, trap, all that shit is smoke and mirrors off the jump. Yeah. Like, so what are we talking about? So that's what makes it even more like ironic. Like it's all bullshit to begin with, but then you got people flexing so hard to make the bullshit seem real, and then it appears very real, which creates very real consequences, and then you get caught up in the real consequences when the shit started out as something fake to begin with. Like, you know what I'm saying? We went to a performing arts school. How many niggas singing, rapping, and dancing are really out in the street banging?
That's fair.
That's valid.
Come on. Look at every actor's background, every entertainer's background. They're typically weirdos. Yeah. They're typically fucking weirdos who had no friends in school, who weren't popular. They weren't involved in no fucking street shit. Like, come on, stop. Yeah, the nigga was like, I gotta go to the studio. I gotta get to the studio. Like, when was you out selling drugs?
Yeah. That's fair.
When was you out doing that? When was you out shooting niggas? Shut up.
That's fair. That's fair, especially making. I appreciate.
Oh man.
Like you said, pillow talk to death for a lot of motherfuckers. I know that. Pillow talking to death.
Okay.
Stop pillow talking.
Exactly.
Stop pillow talking.
Stop pillow talking. And so I'm like, you got so many people out here trying to maintain an image or trying to be something that they're not, because that's what sells records. But in the being something that you're not, you become that thing, right? Because you're selling the records, right? Like Pac said,
Yeah.
he never did a day in jail until he became Tupac. He never did a day in jail. He didn't have no record until he became a millionaire, until he became a rap star.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of entertainers like that, right? May have done like some petty little street bullshit, but they don't really get their rap sheet until they blow up.
Yeah.
Why? Because in this effort to appear so real, to appear so gangster, you actually end up caught up in some gangster shit, in some real shit, right? And then when you get indicted, oh, it's just my rap lyrics. Oh no, but that's not what you've been saying. You ain't been saying.
Yeah.
Nah, you've been talking about you a real nigga. You really live this life. You really about this life. Okay.
Yeah.
You about that life, be about that jail cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's facts.
Sit in that jail cell. Yo, you so tough. You so tough. What you want bail for? What you want to come home for? You should be right at home, right? You in there with your trap niggas. You in there with the hood niggas, with the street niggas. What you tripping for?
Yeah.
Because the truth is you're not. The truth is that you're a millionaire and you're living a very comfortable life, cashing your checks, wearing your jewelry, doing whatever the fuck it is that you do. But you ain't sitting in you ain't in no trap. You ain't banging in no streets. You ain't killing no niggas. And now you didn't cash the check. Your mouth wrote a check that you can't cash. So, I tried my best. I tried my best to sum it up in like 10 minutes. But
No, that's right on point, because that ties us right into the the last thing, before we get out of here. The P Valley, the P Valley, season 2, finale, and
oh, don't give me no spoiler alerts. I still haven't finished it. I'm halfway through the season.
Oh man,
I have not finished it. Don't give me no spoilers. Don't give me no spoilers.
Oh,
I
man,
haven't read anything. I have not read anything or seen anything about the ending of season 2. But let me tell you, it's some good it's some good goddamn acting. Little Murder.
It really, you know what, and exactly, because when you were talking about murder music, I'm like, hey, I Little Murder, and my man's lifestyle, and it. So I'm not gonna get down into the weeds with it to respect the fact that you have not concluded the season yet. We're not even going to talk about why you haven't. We're just going to say, because you haven't seen.
I be busy.
But,
didn't he open this up talking cash shit, talking about how busy I be? That's how busy I be, tall man. Okay, I ain't even seen the fucking finale of P Valley. I ain't seen Animal Kingdom. I ain't seen fucking Force. I ain't seen Kanan. I ain't seen none of this shit. Okay.
Oh my gosh! You know what? All right. Well, you know what? I am going to leave that right there. All I'm going to say is, season 2, they tied things up nicely. I'm very disappointed that now we got to wait a whole 11 months to next June or July, to kind of see how things played out. But P Valley owes me nothing. I'm definitely definitely locked in. I enjoyed it, and like you said, the acting, it's definitely progressed from season 1 to season 2. I like the storylines. You did mention, Raising Canaan. Of course, that came back out this weekend. Another solid show. We'll get into that. Probably next week. As we gotta allow Nas time to catch up as well, because I know he's a very busy individual. So he doesn't have a lot of time to stay
air
on top
quotes.
of the
Did
shows.
you peep those? You peep those air quotes?
Air quotes.
Busy.
You see my air quotes? Air quotes.
Hey, I take my shots when I can, but
shots fired, bang bang.
yes, P Valley, I'm here for it. It was great. I hope that you both, catch up on, the rest of the
can you
season, and then the finale.
can you rephrase the question in a way that doesn't spoil it?
Nah, I mean, I'm trying to, it's still early here, so my brain's still waking up, so I don't want to have any Freudian slips or anything, but I mean, everything with, how we were talking about, murder music, and how people are portraying lifestyles, and putting that out in the air and having to live it and things like that. It all kind of, it came it all came together with, P Valley and, the
Okay.
situation that, Little Murder has and, what's going on in his life. And it's just, it's a good show. I'm gonna leave it at that. I can't go too far in depth because I'm gonna say a certain thing and that's gonna lead to something else and get your mind wandering. So I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Okay, fair
and
enough.
just say, hey, you gotta catch up to it.
Okay, will do. I got my marching orders.
There you go. That's what's up. Well, as always, we definitely appreciate you joining us.
Yes. I'm sorry I blabbed the whole time. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's what it's for.
No, it's all good.
You know what I'm saying? It's that's why we call it In the Bowl. It's topless. We just pull out, you know what I'm saying? And we enjoy. We just sit here and just talk.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't have a hookah, so I don't have any hookah break. So, I just talk. So.
Hey, that's all straight. So we just know one more person we got hookah to. That's it.
Right here. Send it here.
That's it. But no, thank you. We appreciate you as always. Definitely.
Indeed.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Oh man, a good show. Definitely and informative. She dropped a lot of gems out there. So that was a good one, man. It was a good one.
Definitely. I ain't know. That's why I said I think it's a good correlation as to I can only imagine, like you said, that darkness when you go in there because all you're doing is you're arguing against two sides, right? So it's that heavy weight, right? And someone's gonna lose. You're gonna have a winner. You're gonna have a loser, right? And
yeah, exactly.
The way it is, right? So, but then also find that center piece to get out of that, so you can center yourself to get out of the emotional side of it to be able to handle that. So that's dope.
It is, man. It is. Hey, so what you got lined up for the rest of the week or the weekend, man? What's going on?
Shit, it's supposed to be nice. I'm enjoying this little weather. You know what I'm saying? Get out and about, Got some good folks, about to hang out with some family, friends, and just, as always, just cooling.
Man, I can dig it, man.
Got your side out there. Any more sand?
Nah, man. No more sandstorms. Definitely go swing past the mall or something. Get a car wash because truck is looking gray. It definitely has a nice coat of sand on there, but not too much this weekend, man. Just adulting. Grocery stores, paying bills. Going moving whatever direction the wind blows, man.
There you go. Ride that wave, right?
Hey, ride the wave, man. Not gonna let it overtake me. I'm not gonna tense up.
There you go.
Sit there and go with the flow of it, man. But once again, we want to shout out Shisha to you. Don't forget you can follow them on IG. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at In the Bowl Pod. We always say, we're very highly opinionated individuals, and we love to hear the opinions of others. So definitely, tap in with us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. Last but not least, don't forget to keep those hookahs clean after every use. Make sure you're rinsing it out, cleaning it out, so that way it's all set up for the next time. So when you have somebody come over, you're ready to smoke, you're going to cut that prep time down in half because things are already set up for you. So appreciate you all rocking with us. We'll talk to you next week.
And as always, click, like, and subscribe.
Hustle 5 Ways Radio.